Can I know the location of your emergency?
Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122 Kings Road.
What drives a person to carry out a crime so shocking that it rendered the entire nation speechless? The motivations behind his actions remain a mystery to this day. He took the lives of 4 innocent individuals without remorse, without warning. But the most chilling part, the killer was always watching, and no one knew it. Today we're discussing the devastating 2022 University of Idaho murders. Let's get into it. In the fall semester of 2022, 5 female students from the University of Idaho lived in a rented 3-story home just off campus in the quiet college town of Moscow, Idaho, a town that hadn't seen a murder since 2015. A peaceful town, a safe home, but even the safest places can become the stage for horror. The house had 6 bedrooms, 2 on each floor, and sat on a hillside with entrances on both the first and second levels. Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen lived on the 3rd floor. Although Kaylee just recently moved out, she returned that weekend to visit Maddie and show off her new car. That night she stayed in Maddie's room. The 2nd floor included the kitchen and the bedrooms of Xana Kernodle and one of the surviving roommates. Xana's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, was also at the house that night and stayed in Xana's room. The 1st floor housed the other surviving roommate. But while they were getting ready for a fun night, someone else was preparing for something far more sinister. By 2 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, all 5 roommates and Ethan were home. Xana and Ethan returned from a Sigma Chi fraternity party around 1:45 a.m., while Maddie and Kaylee returned at 1:56 a.m. after stopping at a food truck.
I would like the
Okay.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Cool. Thank you.
47. Thank you very much.
Between 2:26 and 2:52 a.m., Kaylee's phone made 7 unanswered calls to her ex-boyfriend. Maddie's phone made 3 more. Police later confirmed he was not involved. But during this window, something else was happening. Something deadly. Xana was reportedly awake when the killer entered the home. She had just received a DoorDash delivery at 4 a.m. and was on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates, told investigators she was awoken by noises on the 3rd floor, possibly Kaylee and her dog. She also recalled hearing someone say, "There's someone here." She thought it was Kaylee, though investigators believe it may have been Xana. Was it a warning or the last thing Xana ever said? Dylan looked out her door but saw nothing. Later she heard crying coming from Xana's room and an unfamiliar male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Security cameras picked up whimpering, a loud thud, and a dog barking at 4:17 a.m. She opened her door one more time, and that's when she saw him. A masked man, all black, walking toward her. She froze. He passed by without a word. At 4:26 a.m., Dylan went downstairs to join Bethany Funk, the other surviving roommate. On her way, she noticed Xana on the floor, but assumed she was intoxicated. The two then locked themselves in the same bedroom and tried repeatedly to reach their friends upstairs. They had no idea the horror that just unfolded. I find it hard to envision experiencing something like this. Being abruptly awakened by such a horrific event and facing the assailant could shatter anyone. However, I believe we can all agree that these two remarkable survivors managed the situation well. The 4 victims were stabbed in their beds on the 2nd and 3rd floors. There were no signs of restraint or gagging, but blood splattered the walls. Kaylee and Maddie were found together in Maddie's room. Xana and Ethan were discovered in Xana's room. Xana had more than 50 stab wounds. Kaylee had more than 20. Before calling 911, the survivors reportedly summoned friends to the house, thinking one of their roommates was unconscious. At 11:58 a.m., over 7 hours after the attack, someone used Bethany's phone to call 911. The caller's identity was never confirmed. Why did it take so long? And what happened during those hours? When officers arrived, they found the front door open. No signs of forced entry, no struggle, nothing appeared disturbed. All 4 victims were pronounced dead at noon. Investigators believe the murders occurred between 4 and 4:25 a.m. Kaylee's dog was found alive and unharmed on the 3rd floor. The 2 surviving roommates have had to live with unimaginable trauma. Bethany Funk said in a heartbreaking statement, "I have not slept through a single night since this happened." And Dylan Mortensen, who saw the killer with her own eyes, shared, "Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing." These weren't just roommates. They were family, and they were left in a waking nightmare. The victims were 4 young students with bright futures. Ethan Chapin, age 20, of Mount Vernon, Washington. Kaylee Goncalves, age 21, of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Xana Kernodle, age 20, originally from Avondale, Arizona. Madison Mogen, age 21, also from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. The loss of these 4 left a permanent scar on the community, but the killer wasn't done hiding yet. The university canceled classes. Police initially said there was no threat to the community, then reversed it. Confusion spread, so did fear. And while the town searched for answers, the killer quietly went back to class. Autopsies revealed multiple stab wounds, no sexual assault. A tan leather knife sheath was found on Maddie's bed with DNA. But who was he, and how long had he been watching them? Using genealogy databases, investigators matched it to Bryan Kohberger. DNA from his family trash matched the sample on the sheath. Phone data showed his phone was off during the murders, but pinged near the house the next morning and at least 12 other times before. Security footage captured a white Hyundai Elantra circling the area. Kohberger owned one. He even drove it cross-country with his father shortly after. As investigators closed in, Kohberger began to panic.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man.
Before his arrest, he was seen wearing gloves and dumping trash in a neighbor's bin. He was arrested on December 30th while sorting garbage wearing gloves. Kohberger studied psychology and criminology. He'd just begun a PhD at WSU, only 8 miles from the murder scene. Professors had grown concerned. Students had grown uncomfortable. Was he hiding something darker than anyone could imagine? Kohberger was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. He was denied bail and later indicted by a grand jury. At his arraignment, he remained silent, so the judge entered a plea of not guilty on his behalf. But in June 2025, Kohberger agreed to plead guilty to all charges to avoid the death penalty. On July 2nd, he formally entered his plea. On July 23, 2025, he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 10 years for burglary. He was also ordered to pay $250,000 in fines and $20,000 in restitution.
I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility in execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies.
A sentence he can never walk away from. But was it justice? This case is disturbing and heartbreaking on every level. The red flags were there, and yet no one saw this coming. Could it have been prevented, or was this evil always going to find its way in? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and may the victims, Ethan, Kaylee, Xana, and Maddie, rest in peace. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe.